is the fundamental barrier for many people that who are not able to achieve mental health. But just there's so much energy trying to run away from their negative emotion. That's why all the life is hiding from them. Until there's no more place to hide in the world. What? They kill themselves. Right? When no place to hide, you disappear. So that's why I tell all my friends, I'm still have dialogue with Silverman and all these people, that you guys better wake up, okay? Okay, everybody having an experience. Now, here's what I'm saying. We all have been poisoned by shame, guilt, shame, sickness, and evil. So not, you look at that shame of what you do, not done wrong. But we have biologically, we inherited this predisposition to shame, guilt, and fear. Okay? So this has been passed on to us. That's why our midbrain is oversensitive to anything of danger, suspicious. Our limbic system fire up with any change in environment. Because we've been evolved to like this. Okay? Now those emotions can rule our lives when earlier, and then we confront them and deal with them. Okay? Shame is a pervasive mental health issue. Okay? And if you have depression, anxiety, or addiction, or marital conflict, or workplace conflict, or lack of fulfillment in your career, you're masculine. You humiliated me, but you bullied me, you abuse me, I'll show you what I can do. I'll let the world know that I'm not a pushover. Bam, 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 bam. They're putting your kid in California. So, some people understand that is, that the people's emotion is very powerful. It's very powerful. But now with internet, with availability of weapons, we become more dangerous animals. We become self-destructive and destructive of other people. Okay? So this is why emotion is a dangerous thing. It's good and dangerous. Now here's what I'm saying. When you do a bad thing, we naturally see, I say shame is the mother of all negative emotions. Almost all your negative emotions are in some way related to shame. I'll give you an example. When you're doing bad, you're afraid of getting caught, right? Fear, right? You're afraid. Why? Because you do many shameful things to be exposed. When you do get caught, you feel ashamed, and you regret having that. Shame can turn to anger. Other people who abuse you. So when you don't know why a mild-mannered person suddenly turn violent, he kill the whole family or kill people. Because the shame turn anger. Okay, so simple that all the other emotions have something to do with shame. The differences between West in East and West. The Western society is guilt-based. Okay? In the East, it's shame-based. Do you understand that, right?
Yes.
Now, Basically, shame has two kinds: moral shame and relational shame. Okay? Moral shame dominates in the West. Relational shame dominates in the East. Only in Eastern cultures, like India, China, Japan, we have people who commit suicide because it was the place. You don't see that you seldom see that in North America. We also have honor killing. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to kill you to protect family honor. It's very sad. Okay? Now, Chinese people, overseas Chinese students, which I know that a lot, I'm one. And I used to have Chinese students in my home for our studies. So Chinese students or professionals, they're handicapped from progress because of fear of being shamed, being criticized. You know, it took me a lot. When I was invited to be on the Federal Asian Council, in the beginning, we went to sit around the table, everyone had a little microphone. It took me a long time to speak out. I was so afraid because of my accent. Okay? I was so afraid that I couldn't express myself well. It took me a long time before I speak freely in public. In point, I'm teaching for many years. Okay? In my class, in many classes, Chinese students, even when they know the answer, they will not raise their hand and stand up. Not because they're harmful, because they're afraid. They're afraid they might say the wrong thing, or they'll laugh at it, or they act it. Okay? So I learned with thick skin. That's how I survive, right? For minority, you have to be thick skin. I can survive. Okay? Humility and shyness is often motivated by fear of being evaluated. Fear of being evaluated by others is the main cause of fear of shame. We are afraid of other people look down upon us because of our accent, because of our skin color, because of religion. I'm so used to being attacked, so it's not attacking anymore. Okay? So I got thick skin. I was stripped in public. I'm shiftless.
How do you overcome that?
Because I'm taking so much abuse. So that what the heck? What should I run? What should I hide myself? I fight back. Right? I know what we can't run. Yes.
I was going to say, I think an important question is, why is it worth it to fight back, right? Like, what's in here that's worth it?
For your mental health.
Like, value.
Yeah, for your mental health. You'll survive, right? You can run running. That's the way you live. You stand your ground. You fight back. Then you gain your dignity.
Yes.
You gain dignity. You gain your strength. So stand your ground and fight back with courage. That's why I'm shameless in a sense. In a good sense, I'm shameless. Right?
Yes.
I'm not afraid of being criticized. People criticize me all my life. I'm still standing tall.
Sometimes people think that running is actually confronting your problems because you seem to get it behind you.
The more you run, the more scared. That's a theory, eh? In psychology. The more you run away from fear, the more fear. The moment you confront the fear, the tiger becomes a pussycat. The tiger loses its teeth. Power of confrontation, okay? So I don't try to be rebel, okay? But I'm saying that for your mental health, for you to achieve your dreams, you have to confront your fear. They're not very right. Feel shame, feel failure. You see, if only I'm 100% guaranteed they'll succeed, then I'll try. Then you'll never succeed. You'll never succeed in your life. Okay? I guarantee you that. Okay? You play safe, then you'll be grounded. You never get anywhere. Okay. Generally speaking, shame has been real negatively, okay? That's a very famous quote, okay? The difference between shame and guilt is that I'm bad at this thing. Guilt means is not bad. Shame means I'm bad. Now, this is not quite true. It's not quite true. Oh, it could be right, okay? The shame is also very prophesied, okay? Now, here's something I'm looking at my neck now. I know somebody will shoot me. I said, doing a bad thing does not make you a bad person. Do you agree? Okay? The lawyer, do you agree?
Wholeheartedly.
I commit a crime, so I'm a bad person. Am I? No, that's it, right?
Not. Certainly
I commit a
not.
crime for many reasons. My family's starving. I'm still with my family. I do bad things, good cancer, striking my family. You have to do bad things for them, they'll kill my family. There are many reasons why I do bad things. The Hong Kong students, they commit crime because they disobey the law. But these people, they're willing to die for their idealism. For their idealism for freedom and democracy. So I'm saying that the law is always fair. Society is always fair. That's why before civil rights protest, right? The black protest, the women protest.
I remember the great Dr. Professor Gilmore at University of Toronto. He called this the power of the situation. It's the power of the situation that evokes the responses, or it's a stimulus response kind of idea.
Okay. So it's more than that. I'm telling you why.
Okay.
You have to do basically the situation in fact is one factor.
I think there is a, before you decide the best thing, but who make the judgment that's bad or good. So I think there's a moral standard and the regulation of the society and the law, and that's evolved as in the human progress is going. I mean, a lot of ideas maybe in the 500 years ago is not right? Now it's right. So I think that you make a bad thing, the judgment that comes from well. So this is the first question. Another question, I agree. Doing a bad thing doesn't make a bad person. I only see that person did a bad thing, but maybe in the law system, you punishment for what you have done. Not say you are bad thing. That's the opportunity for you. As a humanity, I always believe there's good side of humanity. It's just the punishment for what I have done, and it doesn't mean you are a bad person. That's my belief.
Thank you. Okay, let Chris answer first, okay? In psychology, we talk about person, situation, and action, right? Person, situation, and action. In some situations, your behavior is completely determined by situation. For example, like character, gun in your head, do this or else. So you do some bad thing to save your life. Or to do things to save your family life. So that situation, okay? But ultimately, the person also plays a factor. Some people say, oh, yes, I'll do anything. So we say, should be. Make my day. Should be. Make my day. I will not kowtow to you. I'd rather die. That's why many martyrs died, right? So the situation presented. And also, Lin is also correct. Bill China and the Hong Kong government became introducing laws that Thai people restricted freedom. So, but they did not learn from history that oppression always leads to revolt. Oppression, pick hardline, oppress. The people say, I cannot lose anymore. I will revolt. The human nature, right? So the human nature is one factor. The same factor is value, right? When people tasted the sweet freedom of democracy, they will not give it up without fight. Okay? So that's value. Okay? So that's very complete. I'll have to leave it some other time. Okay, another one. So how responsible shame determine whether we are good at that? This is something that we're considering. We all feel shame for some reason or another. You cannot keep on attacking people because of shame or hiding of shame, then we continue to feel bad. But you like to think like that shame and know the causes of my shame. I know your true identity. My true identity is a kind person. My true identity is a loving person. Therefore, they force me to do bad things for the time being. I'm not part of that. I am not part of that. When I change, I will regain my dignity and my freedom. For the time being, yes, I do bad things. But just for a while. So that makes me a good person to deep down. I know what I did was wrong. But because of situation factor, I can override this time. I don't want to sacrifice my family. I know that I can die, but I don't want them to kill the family. So they say, okay, I'll go along. But for sure, I'll fight